Declined.
Started.
Bobro. Let's try e4. I still want to get some more Scotch games if I can. Okay. And this is the Scotch gambit. I've played this a few times on other servers and had some good scores with it. So let's see what we get here. Queen out. Okay, that's interesting. Defends the pawn, which was defended anyway. Stops me from pushing e5. Very interesting. It allows bishop to g5. Where does the queen go after that? Well, it's a developing move with a threat, so probably good. You could go to g6 and hit the pawn, which I would need to defend. Maybe bishop or knight. Probably knight. The knight can't come to c3 anyway, so might as well develop to d2 and defend the pawn. Now he can play knight to f6, that's possible. Knight f6, e5. Yeah, e5 is a possible move here. Okay, if I trade bishops, he might actually take here on g2, right? Bishop takes, queen takes g2, hitting my rook. Well, the knight's defended, so I could chase his queen away and then retreat my bishop. So he can't actually take on g2. So if I take that bishop, I guess I should take that bishop. Just because the retreating moves didn't look all that appealing. Now I could play e5 here, but well, his knight isn't going to f6 anyway, the way he's played it. I better castle and protect my g-pawn at this point. Okay, so I have pawn to e5, and knight to e4 maybe. Let's put the rook on e1 first. Well, we get an interesting position here. So pawn to e5, he takes, I take. He takes, I take. Not so great. Maybe I should just round up this pawn here with knight to b3. Just gather up my gambit pawn and play on. Yeah, so he goes there, hitting my bishop, hitting my knight. Let's see, the bishop is not defended, so I actually need to do something about that. The knight is defended. Yeah, it's interesting. If I take, he takes with a pawn, and then his pawn is defended here. If I take with the queen, he takes my knight because it's no longer defended. This pawn is pinned. Let's see. So I don't want to take, but if I just move the bishop, yeah, that's probably best. Just move the bishop. He can play c5 and defend his pawn now, which he couldn't play until he moved that knight there. So, but I like, for me, I like it better if his pawn structure has got a pawn on c5 instead of this d pawn going to e5. And it looks like a pretty good structure for black, whereas this one, at least I have the doubled pawns to play against. If he goes with c5, I could play c3. It's not as good in this case because I'm not taking back with a piece. Okay, so now I can take his knight and then gather up the c-pawn. Maybe I should go ahead and do that. If you've lost your your gambit initiative, you should at least get your material back. That was an interesting way to play. I'll look at that in the post-mortem, see what's a good response there. It's what happens when you play due openings. You see things that you didn't expect. Still, this doesn't look too bad. Oh, he's going to win the whole center here, isn't he? F4, if I take, he takes back with the knight or the rook. So I think I'm actually going to play F3. It looks a bit weird. But I want to take back with a pawn there. Pawn takes, pawn takes. If he kicks my knight away and tries to grab on E4 with this queen, I have this bishop here check now to... okay, but he didn't do that. So maybe bishop here check is a good idea anyway.
Check.
Just to free up a little space around my king. I may need to defend along the second rank here and get my bishop outside the pawn chain. See, the knight cannot go there because the queen and the bishop are both on it. So back here, hitting his e-pawn. And he is attacking there, okay. So let's defend. Well, that's the best way. Maybe with the rook. It's kind of funny, but with the rook here, the knight can actually come back to e1 and also add to the defense of that pawn, say if he tries to pile up in some way. Now I can just play king to h1 and threaten to win that bishop and chase it away. I'm also still threatening to take on e5 there, which would be good. So he defends e5. Let's see, knight takes, queen takes. Is there any tactic there? Not that I see. Okay, so let's see if we can get that bishop to retreat. Okay, let's bring my queen in somehow. I can play queen e1 and h4, kicking his queen. He can bring his knight in. That's something I have to watch out for. But maybe instead queen d2 and then rook to g1. Bring the rook over. Okay, he's going to try advancing the h-pawn. So if I play, don't mean to pick it up. If I play g3, he takes. I can take with the rook. I can also take his queen. So g3 is a pin. So he can't take. And if he pushes on, I could push on to g4 even. Or I could take here maybe, with the tempo on the queen. Ah, he steps back with the queen. Okay. He saw that as a threat. So pawn takes, he can take with the knight or the pawn. Knight takes, queen takes, queen takes. A lot of material comes off. Maybe I could double rooks first, so I'd have some threats on the g file after I take. Because I can still play pawn takes here on the next move, right? Yeah, interesting game. I think I've got my pieces pretty well mobilized, and he has one rook that's not yet playing. Ah, he's got a bishop. He's got a bishop that could play. Bishop to h6 would be probably a good move there. Instead he went for the exchange. Bishop h3. Okay. This goes with check, but I'm threatening to take his knight here, right? I have knight to e1 to defend on f3. It's one idea. Yeah, let's play that. Also covers g2. Yeah, I think he missed a good move in bishop h3 there. Another thing to check out in the postmortem. So let's see. Now I can threaten here. He can take with the queen. He moved it anyway, so I guess he was worried about that. Okay, well, let's stop and think. If I play queen here and he takes and I take with the rook, then he can grab here, knight takes, rook takes. And I don't have anything comparable, do I? I mean, there's almost a mate threat, but my rook will be in the wrong spot, won't it? Oh, no, actually I am threatening mate. So let's play this out again in slow motion. Queen here, queen takes, rook takes. Knight here, knight takes, rook takes. Now I can take this pawn and threaten checkmate. I think that's good. I've used up a lot of time here. It's nice, my bishop is also coordinating on the g8 square, so there's also a threat of rook all the way to g8, I guess, if he lifts this rook off, because I have my rooks doubled here. I don't know, but there is potentially a problem with my king in the corner here on the light square. As long as I hold on to one of these pawns, I guess the bishop is not delivering a check on that diagonal, but it's potentially dangerous. It's interesting how this knight on e1 neutralizes the knight on h4, covering the same two squares. Okay, so he's going to look for a move here, just opposing the bishop. Now, what should I do? If I take, he has to take back with the queen. I take the queen first. You know, he's still got this knight here, which is annoying. And I can't actually take the knight, or even really threaten it. Well, I don't see anything better than taking there. Queen takes. Does not look that appealing either. After he takes back with the queen, he's threatening on a2, but I have queen takes e5 check, which looks like that ought to be good for me. Oh, if he takes with the queen, I can take his knight. Okay, so he probably has to trade queens first. And then my bishop isn't hanging. Okay, so I just won a piece without realizing it. Let's back up. Yeah, when he played his bishop there and I took it, his queen was overloaded because his queen was also protecting this knight. Okay, so he goes for a trade here. And my queen is still defended, so I can take that knight. The rook is defended by a knight. The queen grabs my bishop. I can take his rook with check. Or we can play like this, and I'm still just... actually, I'm two pieces up now because he gave up a knight as well as a bishop. Okay, I think I can breathe easier now. I'm not mating him, but I'm up big material here. I'm just playing simple moves that I can play quickly. There might have been trickier moves that were better, but this looks good
Black
enough.
resigns.
Okay, interesting game. I will upload this and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.